Welcome back, America. We're here with really one of the great statesmen, Newt Gingrich. Newt, let's cut right to the chase here, Iran. I remember Margaret Thatcher, when it came to Iraq and negotiations and all, and she said, what's to negotiate about? What are we going to negotiate? My question to you is, and I say this respectfully, what are we negotiating about? This is a terrorist regime that's slaughtering its own people to stay in power, that has killed Americans, that supported Iraq against us and maimed Americans. It's an ideological death cult that goes back to the 7th century, and they're not going to stop being what they are, whatever paper they sign. So unless negotiations are a head fake, as some people suggest, why are we negotiating?
Well, look, I agree with you 100%. As recently as a couple of weeks ago, the Iranian parliament was chanting death to America. And of course, they'll chant death to Israel. Now, as a historian, my experience is when you have a group of people chanting death to you, it's useful to assume they're serious. And it's not just propaganda or some strange psychological language. So we've had an experience of being basically, from their side, they've been at war with us since 1979. They're very clear about that. We were described by the original founder, Ayatollah Khomeini, as the great Satan. Israel was the little Satan. And his position as a religious leader was that the job of religious people is to destroy Satan. Our elites have tried desperately to avoid the reality that this is an evil regime. It's a regime which survives only by killing its own people. It is dedicated to the destruction of the United States and the destruction of the West, says so openly. So I don't understand why the administration would meet with them, because it legitimizes the regime. They were in real trouble a few weeks ago. They only survived by killing thousands of people. President Trump said you need to stop killing. They didn't pay any attention. They continued to kill people. They're today continuing to kill people. And there's a practical reason. If they quit killing people, they're going to get overthrown. And so they want to stay in power. So I'm with you. I think the only long-term strategy is to encourage the people of Iran to take back their own country, to dramatically weaken the regime further, and to undermine its capacity for imposing itself. And ultimately, I think we can do that. So I don't know why we would meet with them, which makes them look like they're a legitimate government. They're not. They're a dictatorship dedicated to destroying the United States.
You know, the isolationists like to talk about warmongers, and I've coined a word called diplomacy mongers. That is, people who think that we can talk our way or they can talk their way into some kind of an arrangement. I've also presented a parallel example, not exact but good enough, with North Korea. North Korea did this for 20 years. They'd sign any damn piece of paper. They got subsidies. We tried to buy peace from these people. And what is it? It is a concentration camp with 50 nuclear weapons, building 6 or 7 nuclear weapons every single year. And it's just horrendous. This is a big deal, is it not? And we got to get this right.
You know, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt said at one point, trying to get the American people to think more aggressively about how to defend themselves, he said, if you're standing next to a rattlesnake, you don't actually have to wait for it to bite before you decide it's dangerous. And I think that's the way we should approach this. We made a huge mistake in not stopping North Korea when we could have before they began getting nuclear weapons. Now, I think it's one of the unknown things about the future of the world, because they're gradually getting more and more weapons, building better and better missiles. And I really worry about a North Korean strike at some point. In the case of the Iranians, they began killing Americans very early in the regime. They killed Americans in Lebanon. They've actively been against us. They've been against the survival of Israel. And they're very open about it. This regime is not confused. It's not subtle. The Ayatollah Khamenei, who's the current leader, has been very clear that they're not going to back down. And I think sooner or later, we either have to help the people of Iran take back their own country, or we have to recognize that we're going to face a nuclear-armed Iran, because despite the bombing campaign that we've already had, they're back rebuilding. And over time, they'll eventually get there unless we're prepared to bomb them again and again. And frankly, I don't think that's a viable long-term strategy.
When we come back, Newt Gingrich, my question is, do we not have an obligation, our generation, to the next generation, to the generation after that? This is the opportunity to deal with it. What will it look like if we don't? We'll be right back.